Alrighty, so in the last video, I showed you how to draw a few things out, and some of the things that you might want to look for as far as making things shapes that were realistic, that you could actually make that shape. Placement of ornamentation, so it didn't interfere, let's say, with the rim here. Handle size. Make sure that handle is actually a size that would actually work. And that the ornamentation isn't too, teeny tiny stuff, bunch of little stuff, that it was realistic. And maybe even showing that there is a footer, right? So here was the one drawing. And here is another one that I had worked up, so a little bit different shape on that one. And here is yet another idea. And here is yet another idea. Okay, so any and all will work. And what I'll do is I'm going to go through and show you how you might go about making these various shapes. All right, so the first thing to consider is, well, how big is it? So let's see, if we look at these two right here, we might say like, okay, well, this one seems to be a much larger cup than this. Now, we don't know for sure. Maybe that's a rather large teacup. Maybe it's more of a bowl just in the shape of a teacup, who knows. But we'll assume that it's a little bit smaller. So what size clay do you get right off the bat? So this one, obviously, maybe a larger chunk of clay. This one, maybe a smaller one. Okay. All right. So at some parts of this video, I'm going to sort of, blur ahead, that type of thing, so that you don't need to be watching every second of what I do, because it is a bit of a review. But yeah, we want to be able to make a shape something like that. Okay, that being said, I'm going to round my corners. Even this, I watch kids sometimes, and they're pushing on the flat spots. Well, how are you going to make it more round if you're pushing on the flat spots? You should be pushing on the edges and on the corners, right? You're building a relationship with the clay. That's what these first couple projects are really all about, is how do you build the dexterity in your hands? How do you build a relationship between your hands and the clay? Okay. All right, so very quickly I've got a nice little ball. Can we put this so that we can see the drawing? There we go, and the clay at the same time. All right, so it looks like just a basic sort of pinch pot here. And round and getting that in here. Okay, so that we have it, going deep enough, right? Deep enough down, not all the way through, obviously. Okay, and as I start pinching this out, I could just push flat, but that's just going to stick it out this way. It's just going to make my bowl wider. It won't make it any taller. And I need to make it at least a little bit taller. So when I do this, I'm going to be rolling my hands, building that relationship. Anybody can just push the clay around, and anybody can do this. But it's just a matter of pushing the clay around in the way, well, that you want it to go. So you can see that that is drawing it out, drawing it out, drawing it out. And the fact that I went deep at first gave me a lot of material up here to work with. I can keep working with that material, getting it into the most basic of shapes that I want it to be. So I've run out of material at the top to work with, right? So what I'll do is I've got a little bit more material at the bottom. So now I'm going to push out at the bottom. And if it gets to be too deep for my thumb to reach in, well, then I'll use my fingers. I'm always gauging how thick something is. So not pushing too much, at one time, just being gentle and feeling, okay, where it's thicker, I can pinch a little bit more. Where it's a little bit thinner, maybe less or not at all. And just feeling it as I work. Okay, that's starting to be something of a similar shape. It could still be a little bit taller, I would say, but we'll work that out as we continue. Okay, yeah, I've got more clay at the very bottom. It's thicker at the bottom than it is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start using the table. Just get this neatened up here. And just off to this corner here. Okay. And pushing down at the bottom towards the table, I'm just going to start rolling it. And you can see that that's pushing it out here. See how that's coming out? Okay. Okay, so we have an overall shape, believe it or not, that is tall enough and wide enough to work for my bowl. Now it's just a matter of shaping it. So here, it's a little bit wider, right, around here. So I'll just kind of pot belly that out by pushing out from the inside. Not too much. And remember, whenever you pinch it out, you're going to be making it thinner, so be aware of that. That's why I made the shape not too extreme. So it was something that I could do. Okay, so you see that's pot-bellied it out a little bit. It goes in a little bit. And I think that I'll indicate that it goes in by pushing out. You can use the tension in your fingers to kind of make things get smaller. But it's tricky. It takes a bit of practice. Okay, instead I'll just flare this top out a little bit more. See? And so now you'll see that I already have sort of the basic shape of this right here. And I'll just continue to work with it, maybe to stretch it out and making it a little bit taller, smoothing it, evening it, all that kind of stuff. There. This could actually go up a little bit taller here. Okay, little by little, it's becoming more like it. Okay, I'm going to put this one aside for now, and we'll take a look at the next one.